Alright. I'm dealing with some audio real quick, but should be good in a second. Okay, am I echoing at all? I don't think so. Having some issues with, my OBS, I guess, but I think we're good now. Up real quick, make sure everything's good, and then we can get going. Yeah, I think we're all good. Alright, so hello everyone. I'm SWC, and this is Brawl. Really not much to it. I've run this game multiple times in the past, so it's pretty much the same thing. A couple differences, I believe. So we might as well just get right into it, and think we'll be good. If there's any issues in audio or whatever, let me know and I'll see if I can fix it. So let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so starting off here, we got Kirby. We're just gonna inhale Mario, hope for good RNG, and alright, that's really good. So I noticed that my load times are a little bit slow. That's an issue with my Wii, pretty much. This also means this run probably won't be world record, because I need my loads to be good, but sometimes they just don't. And it's really not my fault, which kind of sucks. So in this fight, we have a bunch of primates. These are like the main grunt enemy, and they're not too bad. These ones with the blue swords are, because they're more resistant to damage than the other ones. But I can still do a forward smash and just one hit them. So here's the first boss, Petey Piranha. Gonna make really short work of him. Really good RNG there. He has a jump attack, which is pretty slow. Just because I can't do much damage to him, and the animation's really long. But 2 of the swing the cages is good. I saved Zelda because we'll be using her later. So now we get into Skyworld, where we have Pit. Really not much to this level here overall. It's really short, and we're just going to glide a bit. You need to break that box to progress, because that's the first box of its kind. I guess it just shows you that these have items in them. Kind of hoping it wouldn't explode, but okay, that works. So the item that I just threw is a trophy stand. It turns enemies into trophies, which is nice because it does one-hit them, but the the animation for the trophy stand's very, very slow. Alright. So moving into the first skip of the game, this is Skyworld skip, because we do a skip in Skyworld. Gonna fall all the way down here. Once this platform starts moving, I'm gonna jump. And start gliding. So gliding exists in this game. It's the only Smash game that has gliding, unless you want to count Project M. And it's pretty useful. I actually am gonna stop it there. I lost a bunch of speed. And I'm going to try the skip a different way. So ideally I would have glided over that fight there, but I could. There is a backup where you can just up B over it, and that's what I did there. So you do end up skipping the fight. That fight's not that long, it's about 10-12 seconds. But always good to skip it. Most of the skips in this game are going to involve gliding. So, like I said, we picked Zelda, so we're going to transform into Sheik here. She's faster than Zelda and Kirby, even with the transform time. And I'll talk about speeds and stuff in a little bit, because that's fairly important. But for the most part, this section is just going to be running through some stuff, running through enemies, hitting some blocks. As long as the enemies aren't actively attacking me, I can just run right through them. There's a couple exceptions, which are permanent hitboxes, but they're not common. This enemy's kind of annoying. It throws rocks out randomly behind it. So sometimes I try and risk it and just shield the first rock and hope it doesn't throw out another, but sometimes it does like that. The safest way to do it is to just kill it right away. These ones are usually not an issue though. Alright, moving into the last room. It's just going to be a couple fights here. So these black discs are called generators. They spawn enemies and need to be destroyed. They have more health than most other enemies, but are still very easy to KO. So there's going to be a set pattern that I'm going to do in this fight. And that's that. I'm going to shield this rock, so now I can't get hit by it again. If you get hit by it, same thing happens. You can only take a hit from it once in the whole time that it spawned. Alright, let's see clouds. So the early game is mostly made up of short levels. There's not too much challenge to them. Jungle is not an exception to this. It's a very easy level, very straightforward. Basically just gonna pick Diddy and run to the right. Enter the cannon. Keep going. Again, running through enemies is totally okay. Get a dash attack into that just to save a couple frames. On this last cannon, I'm gonna have to wait, just because it was a little bit pointing down. If I just was mashing A, it would have killed me. That's just because of how fast you get there. Alright, moving into the really only challenging part of this level is this fight coming up here. Since I made it up here fast enough, I can use that trackball to hit the enemies. And because no bad items spawned, it was a really good fight. Sometimes if items spawn in the way of the enemies, I hit the item instead, and the enemy stays alive, which is kind of annoying. But that was really good. The item spawned after I hit the enemies, which was ideal. Alright, so here's an auto-scroller. I'm going to talk about speed, like I mentioned earlier. So, characters in this game, their ground speed values are or this is in Subspace specifically, they're balanced in that faster characters get slower and slower characters get faster. So most characters have a similar speed. Of course, you're still going to have some that are faster than others, but they're not as fast as they would be in the base game. So this is important because of still needing to know who's faster than what and who can do what to sacrifice their speed. But in general, we're just going to pick the fastest character because that's good. The slower characters usually aren't better. There's like maybe 1 or 2 instances where we'll pick the slower character. So that's pretty much that. Basically just know that faster characters that are usually fast are going to be a lot slower than usual. So like Captain Falcon is very slow in this compared to the base game. And this is probably done just to let every character finish the levels pretty much. So going into plane, it's just going to be a bit of a platforming section and then some fights afterwards. So it's going to run down this hallway. I'm power shielding these flame balls. What that does is you'll hear like a clank in the shield, and it lets me act out a bit faster, which is pretty important. It's minimal, it's maybe a couple frames, but over the course of the run it'll add up to probably a couple seconds at least. So now we're going to go into a couple fights here. They're all very straightforward, they all have the same patterns. So for the second fight, I'm just going to stand in the middle and down smash twice. A little bit off there. Okay. That's fine. When enemies hit each other, they do damage to each other, which is really useful. So I'll be knocking enemies into other enemies a lot, just to KO them faster. Also, items are fairly helpful most of the time. That is a poison mushroom, so I'm not gonna get that. I'm not gonna have to worry about it though. You can kind of tell because the poison mushrooms are a little bit less red. Alright, so here's the first challenging stage, Lake. And the first part of this is going to be a boss fight against Rayquaza, who's very resistant to any damage, so it's going to take a little bit longer than usual to kill him. I'm going to hope for good RNG in his attacks, which so far have been good. Could get one more attack. And that's not good. So that's Fly. Goes off screen and then comes back, but he's at a low enough percent to really not make it matter as much as it could have. If that was the first move we did, that would have been really bad. Because it usually goes 2 or 3 times across the screen, which takes a very long time. So moving into the actual section of Lake, these yellow and blue doors are basically day and night doors. They change the scenery, but they're also used to navigate through the level, of course. Just gonna have some platforming here to get through. Alright, when starting the last part of the stage, we have a couple doors here. Gonna have to go back and forth a couple times. Here we're gonna do a Goomba fight. Goomba fight was set up in a way that it'll KO them like that, and then I can hit the bomb a little bit faster, but hitboxes on it are a little odd. You gotta be like right under it. Something to note is that you can cancel pretty much any animation with a door opening. So if you're in Special Fall, you can just open a door right out of it. You can't do that on the ground, you can only do it from the air. So you can do like a recovery move into a door and then open it immediately, but you can't be on the ground to do it. That's mostly going to take effect with Fox's side beam, which I've been using. So if you go from above and then enter a door, it's okay. If you do it on the ground, it'll take a little bit longer. Something else to mention about Subspace is that gravity is increased like dramatically compared to the base game. So you have characters like Pit and Diddy Kong who rely on not really falling for their up B. And in Subspace, it's very hard for them to actually recover because they just lose so much height immediately. Thankfully, we don't really need to use the recoveries that much. Pit has his grounded up B, which actually works. The up B in air is pretty bad. And then Diddy's up B is pretty much never used unless things go wrong in this next fight. Speaking of which, we're going to pick up Diddy here, just for the next fight. Gonna move to the end, hop in the cannon, and then start the Bowser fight. So the Bowser fight is very difficult. RNG is a very big factor in what the AI is going to do. So I'm just going to hope that it cooperates. Has not been recently, so we'll see. Okay, that looks good. So for a lot of these fights, I'm just going to try and throw them off stage and then spike them. That'll send them straight down and make them not be able to recover. Like I did there. That was really good, actually. In very rare cases, Bowser runs at you and then up B's, which puts him into Special Fall, and then just falls off screen. That's happened to me maybe like 2 or 3 times. But for the most part, it's just reacting to what the enemy's doing and then just trying to get him off screen. We're going to see that later with Charizard as well, in about 40 minutes. So, in this auto-scroller, I'm just being chased by the king statue. Really not much to it. It's hard to die unless you're kind of trying to, or doing dumb stuff. That's probably bad to do. And you can actually walk behind the statue. If you shield his attacks, basically when you run into him, if you shield him, you can just walk behind and abuse invincibility frames. That's about it to this auto-scroller. There's not too much special. Statue can hit all the buttons for you though, which is nice. It is difficult to walk behind the statue for a long time, just because your speed needs to be a certain speed. And it's a little bit of a mix between walking and running. So it's not too slow, but not too fast either. If you go too fast, it'll go back into its hitbox. But if you go too slow, you'll just get lagged behind and then die to the boundary of the screen. But that's that. Now we're going to go into the Porky fight. This fight's fairly annoying. Usually does the same moves. So like that one to start and then something else afterwards. That is the move I was looking for, just because it's kind of easy to get hit by it. So after that is kind of just a hope it doesn't do a certain move. It has a move where it just fly up in the air and hang out there. That's not good. You can still hit it, but it's just difficult to. Alright, moving into the actual part of the stage. Just some platforming here. I meant to go fast enough to catch a cycle, but I definitely missed it now. Unless it'll still work. Kind of. Yeah, we'll count it. So that's going to lead into this fight, which is fairly basic. What spawns in the fight is random, what they do is not random, what they do is... So basically I know what's going to be here, but I don't really know what they're going to do. So in that fight, all I had to do was KO the ones that spawned, and not the ones that it spawned. The ones that it spawns really don't matter towards the progression of the fight. Only the ones that spawn from off-screen. So I'm going to set up for a skip here. Involves me KOing these flows first, just so they don't interrupt. Usually around 3, that was 3. I jump, PK Thunder, and skip the fight. Just like that. So that's actually probably the hardest skip in the game. It's, in comparison to other games, it's not that hard. But the skips in this game are fairly easy, I would say, overall. The one coming up in this stage is difficult overall, but the individual ones are very easy. But we will get to that in a little bit. In the meantime, Marth's just going to run. Getting really good RNG on these beam primates. When they do that attack, it's going to hit me, so I need to shield it. If they don't do that little animation before, I don't need to worry about it. So only one there is actually really good. So I'm going to power shield over these, distracting. And I'm going to set up for a little damage boost here, and start this fight. So this is the only time in the run where we do not pick Meta Knight first. And the run is now 2 hours from now, so Meta Knight's going to be used a lot. Fair warning. But he's not used here because he's not that good at fighting compared to Marth, or these set of enemies. These enemies Marth has no trouble with, and Meta Knight is a little bit slower. They're both good for the fight, but Marth is just a little better. Alright, so there's 3 enemies left. Gonna keep that one on the left there, set up for a little faster strat. So I'm going to KO Marth and KO the last Prime at the same time, so I'll spawn into this next section as Meta Knight, who's going to be used for skips. So this is the longest sequence of skips in the game. Gonna fly over the first fight, start the second fight, go back into the first fight, take a primate from the first fight all the way into this auto-scroller here. Wait a bit in the auto-scroller. Till around here. kill that Private. That'll unlock the camera. So I can basically skip the rest of the auto-scroller by flying through it and flying over fights. Like so. That's one more fight, and then the last one's here. I think I missed that. Yeah. I had too much speed and just crappy edge. That's okay. So what's going to happen is the auto-scroll is going to end, that's going to happen, and I'll just respawn where I was. So it's not really a big deal. So the auto-scroller was still going as I was flying and doing everything, but the camera wasn't locked to it. So it just let me go through the whole level as if there was nothing. So this fight's actually a bit better with Marth, which is nice, because you can pretty much one-shot the primates. Meta Knight has a little bit of a harder time with it, but not too much. Both Marth and Meta Knight are very good, except Meta Knight can glide, and that's just better for the game as a whole. Alright, so last two areas here. First one's just this bit. There's nothing to it. Just to start the next section. So I'm gonna go for a skip here. This skips a minute-long fight, which obviously takes a long time. You do need a certain angle when you're going up, which is a little bit difficult, and then you gotta flatten out to not die, but it's not too hard. So now in the forest we're gonna pick Yoshi, because Link is really, really bad, and Yoshi's pretty okay. Link is one of the worst characters that you can use in Subspace. Because his mobility is very bad, and that's probably the most important thing. Unlike Yoshi, who has good mobility. So those two Primans were responsible for spawning the puppets on the left and right. So if you don't KO them, puppets don't get spawned and you can't progress. So we're gonna move through here, take a damage boost into the fight. I don't want to be metal, might run out before the fight ends. Okay. Yoshi's airspeed is really good. Alright, so now we enter the last section. Which is just going to be using a lot of egg roll. So it's really fast, and it has a hitbox, which is good for hitting buttons like that. I'm gonna skip most of that ladder, because ladders are really slow to climb up. So you can throw enemies through that first one, just to get it off stage easier. That's really not going to be used too often. There's going to be a couple of those beetles that we're going to knock out with that. But overall, most of the enemies just die in one hit anyways, so it's not really a big deal. Alright, So, into research facility. First we have Zero Suit. We're going to use her for a little bit until we get someone better. That better being Pikachu. Pikachu has a lot of fast techniques that I can do. Such as I can do it. There is a quick attack cancel, where if you quick attack, which is the up B, into the ground, you can jump immediately after it, and continue. If you land, you do have a lot of lag from all the quick attacks. But if you don't land, you can just keep chaining quick attacks, and then eventually just enter a door or something like that. So it's a good technique. Do something like that with it. Gonna do a little bit of a sequence break here. Doing Thunder there, hits a button right above me. Okay, into the next section. The main goal of this area is to basically hit the buttons that remove the walls from the final section. We haven't found a way to clip into that final section yet, but maybe someday. That would save about 2 or 3 minutes. But in this auto-scroller, we're just going to sit here, wait until the end, hit some enemies, and finish. So there's the first one, and there's the second one. That's it. Thunder has a bunch of reach, so you can just hit him off stage immediately, right after spawning. Again, ladders are slow, so I'm just gonna wall jump up. Not every character has a wall jump. Not all wall jumps are as good as each other. Pikachu's is really good though. Alright, last room. We're going to encounter metal pyramids in this fight coming up in a second. And they reflect projectiles, which is really annoying. Thankfully I don't really have any projectiles to be using. That super mushroom is really nice. Alright, that's research 1. So super mushrooms are good because they make you go faster and they make you hit harder. However, sometimes they're just not in a good spot because there's a little bit of an animation when you grow and when you shrink. And it takes about maybe 2/3 of a second to do, maybe a little longer. And it's pretty much just, you can't do anything in that time, so it's just a waste of frames. Here's the hardest fight in the game. This Zelda fight. I'm trying to get her to the left, she does not want to go to the left. For some reason. But that went really well actually. Those fights usually, they either take 20 seconds or a minute and a half, so that was good. Similarly, we have a fight like this afterwards with Link and Yoshi. And we do have a partner in Mario, however sometimes Mario is just not good and sends them the opposite way of where we want the enemies to go, so we'll see how he reacts here. Again, I'm just gonna try and knock him off to the left. The enemies like to jump after being hit, like that. This will be abused later in the game, but right now it's just really annoying. But those fights both went really well. which is very nice. Alright, moving on. I'm gonna pick Pit, just because he can glide to the first fight a little bit faster than Yoshi can get there. And I'm gonna use Pit for the fight as well, just because Pit and Yoshi are basically identical here. I think Pit might be a little better, but they're about the same. I think the only advantage Yoshi gets is with those two clouds there. Alright, so I'm going to stay Pit. Until the end of this little moving platform section. I'm going to glide to the door and start an auto-scroll. And by the end of the auto-scroll I want to be Yoshi, so we'll SD somewhere along the way. But other than that, there's not too much more to say about Lakeshore right now. I will say that I have a cold from over a week ago still, so that's why I'm coughing so much. But yeah, if anyone has any questions in chat and stuff, please feel free. I've played this game enough to know a majority of stuff in Subspace. Alright, I'm just gonna SD here so I don't forget. Like I said, gotta be Yoshi. Trophies and other collectibles. So there's three main collectibles. There's stickers, trophies, and CDs. Picking up stickers and trophies doesn't really mean anything. They don't add any extra time. However, CDs do. Because after you reset, which we'll be doing in days a couple times, you get a little pop-up saying you got this CD. And it takes about 2 seconds per CD. So if you don't get any, you don't get those pop-ups. If you're collecting them, you end up losing time. So don't collect CDs. If you have basically all the CDs in the game, you'll never get a drop, because CDs are always unique. You cannot get a duplicate CD. So if you already have all of them in the game, there's no issue. Like, you'll never get a drop of them. And if you have most of them, you'll rarely get a drop. And I think I have most of them on the save, I'm not sure. I would assume so, because I haven't seen a CD drop in a long time. Enemies cannot drop CDs, as far as I'm aware. I don't think enemies can drop trophies either, just stickers. Alright, and that's Lakeshore. So thankfully those fights in the beginning went well, because that's usually the main factor in how long this split takes. So now we have Path of the Ruins, which is also very straightforward. There's going to be a little skip that I'm going to do at the beginning. That's why I pick Lucas. Squirtle is a bit faster, but just can't do the same things that Lucas can, which makes Lucas better overall. So skip a fight there. Skip an elevator there. At least that one's kind of intended. And then just run to the end. damage boost optional. So this next section is the fire hallway. It's a little annoying, but if we go fast enough, it should be okay. I'm gonna try and hit these buttons through the corner, so I don't have to go into the little alcove where the button is. Like that. Going into the little alcove loses a little bit of time, just takes longer to get out of it. So I was hoping I wouldn't get hit, but I did. It's unfortunate, but not really big deal. These enemies, when you hit them and they take enough damage, they start growing, and when they're growing, they're invincible. These enemies are really annoying. I'm gonna see those a lot later. Do a little bit of momentum tech with the magnet with this. Sometimes you get like to reverse it, it's a little weird, but most of the time it works out. These are Armites, they're one of the most annoying enemies in the game. Just because they hit hard, they do a lot of knockback, and they have a move that makes them completely invincible. It's really nice. But anyways, moving on into the last section of Path to the Ruins is the Wario fight. Ideally, what I'm going to do is jump backwards, have Wario follow me, so I can grab him and throw him off stage. Will that work? Maybe. Alright, that was good. Wario's AI is really weird when it comes to stuff like that, so he just likes to jump around a lot and not let you grab him, but that went well. So Cave is another Yoshi platformer. It has a lot of like really long hallways, which makes egg roll just really, really good. And it has a couple fights which Yoshi is very good at. One more thing that spawns. Kinda don't want to have any items there, but got one anyways. These blocks always have the same pattern. Alright, now we can just egg roll down here, jump up, start the fight. This fight's probably one of the easiest because it's like the only thing to wait for is this end. Pretty much if you kill everything else properly, even if you take some time, you still have to wait for that last one, so... So I'm not really worrying about hitting the buttons to remove this gas, it really doesn't matter. It does damage, but it doesn't do any knockback, so I don't really care. that's the end of cave. So now we have Ruins, which is a very difficult stage. It's one of the longest. So I'm gonna pick Squirtle. Okay, so we just move down here. What I'm trying to do is skip a cycle in this upcoming section, which I think I'll be able to get. Barely. That's pretty tricky to get. Gotta go just fast enough. Alright, now the rest of this is just straight platforming. If you air dodge under these spike platforms, you can kind of teleport to the top of them. Didn't get it there, but we'll have a chance later in the game. It's always tricky to try not to die there. And then we have an auto-scroller. So for this I'm playing on easy. There's other difficulties. There's normal, hard, very hard, intense. The difference for them is that enemies do a lot more damage. They have a lot more HP. And auto-scrollers go faster. So if I was on intense, this would be a lot faster than it is now. I would also probably be dead a couple times, so it's just not worth it. I'm also playing on easy difficulty, so there is a way to get to higher difficulties, but that's banned in the easy category just because you're kind of expected to play on easy. But it's allowed in the New Game Plus category, which is after you game, you have the option to go back into every stage where you can pick any character that you've unlocked, which is usually anyone, and you go through on any difficulty you want and just finish the game. New Game Plus is about 40 minutes faster than any percent, just because you don't have to go through the Great Maze, which is about 30 minutes itself. And there's a couple skips exclusive to New Game Plus, as well as just characters being faster in certain situations. So I'm going to go into the store and then immediately leave. What that does is basically ends the auto-scroller, and it unlocks the camera. That's faster on easy and normal. The other difficulties, the auto-scroller moves too fast for it to be worth it. So you'd end up just losing time instead. So this is where we get Ivysaur. We're not going to use her, just because we're already Lucas, so we don't have to worry about that. If I was playing as Squirtle, I would automatically be Ivysaur here. So there's 3 fights in this section, and in theory, they all have patterns, but it usually doesn't work that way. They're not too difficult. In this last fight, I always have trouble with. Just because these enemies are really annoying. That was alright. Nothing really special there. So the last part of this is going to be running to the right and hitting some buttons. I'm pausing and then doing a jab instead of a dash attack. It's a bit faster. Just because dash attack has more frames to it and more end lag. Take a little bit of a damage boost into the Charizard fight. So similar to Bowser, I'm going to try and grab him and throw him off stage and then spike him. Just like that, except ideally he wouldn't recover, and I'm going to die instead. Which is fine. Ivysaur is actually really good in this fight as well. but we're gonna have to do some conventional fighting. And that's it. Alright. So that wasn't too bad, but having to switch to Ivysaur just makes the fight slower overall. Lucas can make that fight a lot faster. That's okay. So now we're going to go into the wilds, which is kind of just a showcase of Meta Knight's abilities, really. That's what this stage comes down to, which is pretty cool. So first we're going to do some glides. And go into an auto-scroller. So if you know anything about Brawl, you just know that Meta Knight's kind of broken. It's very good and competitive, and it's really good in Subspace. However, that kind of doesn't apply to the other characters that are like generally considered top tier in competitive play. So you have characters like Olimar, who are like top 5 in the game competitively, but Olimar is probably the worst in the game in Subspace, just because of mobility issues. What makes Olimar good in competitive does not transfer over to single player mode. But Meta Knight, what makes him good mostly is his mobility. Also stuff like that. That's called the infinite potential cape. If you do a down B while mashing up on the C-stick, you can go invisible and go really fast on flat ground only. Let's skip a fight here. So, with infinite potential cape, you can go really fast on flat ground only, and it's kind of difficult to do. But that is the fastest way to get through that section of the bombs, because you are completely invincible as well. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Alright, so next auto-scroller. Pretty much the same as the first, except now rocks are falling. But there's not too much to report on here. At the end of this, there's going to be 2 giant pyramids that I'm going to set up on a certain spot on the floor. So I can down smash and 1-hit KO them. Which works out pretty well. So I'm going to run into the cannon, jump a bit, try and get caught in the cannon, which I will, unfortunately. There we go. Just fight to the end. Got a ton of speed off of that. And now we have the Gallium fight. So Gallium's a pretty cool boss. It doesn't have too many moves that are bad. There's a couple of them annoying, but nothing too terrible. It's really easy to just KO with the pillars. That's probably the worst one, but you can still hit him through it, so it really doesn't matter. So that's Gallium. And if you missed that, just wait about 30 seconds and we'll fight him again. Because fighting the same boss twice in a row is a great idea. But now we have Charizard, and Charizard is the best character against bosses because of Rock Smash. So with 5 Rock Smashes, that's the whole fight. That was also really good RNG. Usually he doesn't use him across the stage. So that was probably the best I could have gotten. Alright. So now into Wilds 2. I'm going to do what's called PAL skip because it only works on PAL. As Kirby, I'm going to jump over that fight, go to the end of this what should be an auto-scroller, and die. So if I was playing on NTSC, the American version of the Japanese version, I would respawn at the beginning of the level, but on PAL for some reason, we respawn after another fight. So it skips an auto-scroller and the whole fight, which saves about 1:20, which is really nice, because it's very, very easy. You just jump over and then complete the level. That's one of 2 PAL exclusive glitches, I'll call it. Or skips. This one's not one of them. You can do this on any version. That's probably the easiest skip in the game. Because you just up B and then hold right, that's the whole thing. But the other PAL skip is in Bomb Factory 2, which we'll get to in a little bit. Wilds 2 done. Now we're going to move on into Swamp, I believe. Which is one of the hardest levels in the game. So I hope that it goes well. I did not mean to do that. Tried to shorten it. I'm just gonna SD again, just because I kind of want to be Fox here. Alright, now we can move on. So this introduces wind. When it's going up, it's good, because you get more floaty. When it's down, it's bad, because you have more gravity on top of the already existing gravity changes, so you fall really quickly. Alright, I'm just gonna wait here. So, a little bit of an auto-scroller here before we get into the hardest part of this level. Try to die here. So, similar to the ruins, I'm going to enter a door and then leave. That'll move the camera up in this case, instead of just ending the auto-scroller outright. So, a little bit further until the end. And now we have the giant Diddy fight. This can either go really well or really bad. I'm going to roll to the left and try and grab him. And hope it works. Thankfully that worked perfectly. Alternatively, I could have gotten hit and then die and then have that happen like 3 times. Which is really rough. why it went off to the right. I guess I hit a hammer from the hammer brew. Alright, and into the last part of the swamp. I like this room, just because you can side B a bunch off of the springs. Springs reset your state in the air, so if you were in special fall, you are no longer in special fall, and you also regain your jump back. Can you not? Please. Alright. Gonna go for a little damage boost here. Don't think I got it, yeah, not gonna try it. If I go straight up, it's not good. I gotta go to the right a little bit to hit the next spring. Alright, so a little bit more of an auto-scroller here. And then a fight, and then pretty much done. Dying there, somehow. Cool. Those blast boxes are really scary, because they can kill you just like that, I guess. I haven't really had many issues with them, but sometimes they're scary. Alright, so that's swamp. Moving into another hard level, Research 2. Gonna pick Zero Suit at first. Just because she is better for one specific part that I'll get to after this. I don't know why my move did not come out there. So I'm picking Zero Suit because I can down air down the ladder platform, or ladder section, and that's faster than falling. That's literally the only reason why we use Zero Suit. Other than that, I would rather have Pikachu. So we'll use Pikachu here. This is the Dark Samus fight. And I try and down smash into Thunder, these things, and it might work. It's like a really annoying fight strat. Because they can go wherever they feel like, really. I gotta anticipate what the AI is gonna do, and that's never easy because it's AI, and I can't do that. But that went pretty well. It's mostly just following their DI and just reacting to it. So gonna pick Samus here. Samus's main purpose in Subspace is to die. Well, in this level at least. She gets her redemption later. So I came with that route just because it's annoying. And it usually hits me. This section is probably like the scariest in the game. That's fine, but if you miss there, you need to SD again, and it's just difficult. It's hard to get through that section really quickly. So like I said, Samus's purpose is to die. We're just going to jump off here, jump again, do a bomb. What that's going to do is set our spawn point a little bit further in the level. So then we can just ride the platform again with Pikachu. That skips doing a fight and some other platforming at the cost cost of losing Samus, which is minimal. Another sequence break here. Also skips the fight. And now we have Ridley. So I'm gonna pick Pikachu again because Pikachu's good. Has a bit more ability to KO than Samus does. So hoping for Garaji. This has been decent so far. Ridley has pretty much every single one of its moves moving across the stage. Which is obviously not ideal when we're trying to kill. But it's been staying okay. Only did one offstage move, which is really good. Getting a cannon afterwards. Cannons are pretty much the best item to have against bosses, except for Rayquaza. And it just it tears them to shreds, but unfortunately we got it afterwards, so it wouldn't make a difference. Alright, so now we get Falcon. Falcon is fast, and it's good. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit slower than he should be. So in this fight, I only need to KO these beetles here. If I was playing as Olimar, I could not do that. You can't get over them with Olimar, which is really bad, so. Gonna pick DK for this fight. Basically, I can just down B a lot, and it works. Assuming I can make it to the ground. It even works on these enemies, which is really nice. Kind of a scary fight, especially when you're at the end after getting a bunch of explosives and stuff. Glacial Peak is probably the hardest level technically. There's a whole lot of movement in the first area, mostly. So we'll see how well that goes. Mostly relying on the fact that if you shuttle it, which is meant at its upbeat, onto a floor, cancel it into like a jump or something. So that's called a shuttle loop cancel, because it's a shuttle loop and cancel your animation. But with those, you can just chain them together and do a bunch of quick movement up to the top. And now we have auto-scroller. This is the longest auto-scroller in the game, so they only get shorter from here. Like I said earlier, it is possible to go into higher difficulty from easy, but it's not allowed. It would make pretty much only this stage faster. I don't really think it affects any other stages. Just because there aren't too many enemies to fight in here, it would make that much of a difference. But it makes this auto-scroller probably like double speed maybe a little faster. It's very fast, so it's used in New Game Plus, I believe, on very hard. Just because that's a good balance of the enemy's difficulty and the speed of the auto-scroller. So, getting to the end here, there's about one more little section to go through. And then after this, it's going to be some platforms, going to jump up the platforms to get to the top faster. So. And then this last part is going to be some cannons. This movement is also kind of precise, just to move around the enemies that'll freeze you. Really annoying. So there's going to be 6 of these enemies. So, before this level ends, we have a little fight here against Lucario. Hopefully this will go well. It usually doesn't. That was very good though. What I'm trying to do is just hit him off to the side, pretty much. And I'll do that again in a couple levels. Just down smashes off the side works the best. So Canyon, the whole level is just a fight. There's about 40 enemies and a bunch of different waves, and I'm gonna pick Yoshi just to... Getting a mushroom there is really nice. Not really having to worry about going through doors or anything here, so I don't really care about the shrink. And actually, that came at a perfect time too. So this section is kind of just these wires doing their thing. Picked up the curry there just to try and knock them off more, which apparently is not working, but it almost did. Should be one more. Yeah. So there's one more. When you get a new super mushroom, when you're already in one, it just lengthens your current mushroom. I'm going to assume that it's only to the maximum length of one mushroom, so you can't stack like 30 at once and have 30 times the length. But it's still nice if you're about to run out, just kind of replenish the timer on it. So in Halberd Interior, we're going to play Snake. Snake is not that great for movement. His dash attack is his fastest option, really. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. until we can get to a different character, which of course is Meta Knight. It's really nice that the developers included Meta Knight so often in these levels. It's like they knew. So the goal of this area is to destroy 3 generators that have buttons that'll unlock the doors towards the bottom of the screen here. It is possible to skip this. Just very difficult to do with Snake. I do not like having screw attack here. I don't really know why I picked that up, but it'll fall off eventually. But it basically just ruins any jump height Meta Knight I've had. Alright, so after that we're going to have a regular fight here. I'm going to be trying to knock these enemies off, instead of actually KOing them. Just because that's actually a lot faster than KOing them. Because the beam primids, they take more time to kill than other things. That fight actually went really well. Because most of the enemies are primid, it's just a matter of getting rid of them as fast as possible. Alright, in the last section of this, we're going to have to kill 6 enemies. And go for 2 and 1. There it is. And hit this one through the wall. It's really convenient. One more. Alright. So that's the end of Interior. There's just one more fight here between Dark Peach and Dark Zelda. This fight is also difficult, but not as bad. Sometimes they just have kind of bad item spawns. The enemies like to pick up items. But ideally, if I can get them stacked up together, kind of like this, you just KO them off the same side, and it makes it a lot faster. So that's that fight. So because we just KO'd Peach and Zelda, now we get to play as them in Exterior. Gonna play as Sheik, who is introduced as a new character, even though we've already used her. And we have outdoor platforming with wind going against us, so it's very slow, very annoying. Basically just need to hold right the whole time. And hope I don't fall off. Alright, now that we're inside, it gets a lot easier. Tried the damage boost there. You can damage boost to the button, and then hit the button with Vanish, but it's really difficult. I don't want to pick up that hammer, just because I don't think it would be helpful. I haven't really mentioned tripping yet. Of course, Brawl is tripping. Subspace is actually about 1/4 as common as the base game to trip. It's really nice. You can trip when you start a dash, or you can put a direction to the dash. it's roughly a 1 in 400 chance. But with the number of inputs, you're guaranteed to get some. Because pretty much every time I'm landing on the ground, I'm inputting a dash, so you're gonna rack up that 400 pretty quickly and basically be expected to get at least one. I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 on the run so far. So going up against Duon, I'm gonna have Snake, gonna try and do a dash attack cancel up smash, which basically just means sliding up smash. Didn't get it there. We'll probably have a chance to do it later. Yeah. So that is the Dacus. It's basically just used for movement to get to the boss, and also just quick damage. But Duon is fairly annoying. And that he has a lot of moves that just knock you out of the way. But this should be the end of the fight. And yeah, only a couple more levels until the end of Subspace. Versus Bomb Factory 1, which is very, very short. It's a maze-like level, however, it is, there's a route to get to the end, and you're done. You can pick either Samus or Pikachu here. I like picking Samus just because I'm more comfortable using her for the fight at the end. Also, you can just run through these with no issue. Pikachu, you need to block them. Pretty much, I can just down smash or forward smash everything here. Some exceptions. And that's the whole level. It's very, very short. In contrast, Bomb Factory 2 is very, very long. So I'm going to pick Falcon, then Diddy. I intentionally skipped over Olimar because just in case I died with Falcon, Diddy is an okay option. And it adds 1 extra input, which is maybe like 5 frames. It's not really a big deal. It is very easy to lose a stock on this stage. So we're going to jump over these, jump to the end. Alright, so that wasn't too bad. Just gonna have a little bit of an auto-scroller here. And move on. Alright. So this next section, we're gonna have to hit 3 buttons. Gotta shield these. Playing as Diddy, we don't have to shield them. Something with speed values, I guess. It is actually possible to skip this fight, just not in any percent. You can do it in New Game Plus with Venomite. You just fly over and tornado over the fight. But I don't believe out of these 4 characters that I have, any of them can do it. Diddy would probably come the closest. Maybe Donkey Kong? I don't know. I'm in. Yeah. Getting stuck under that conveyor belt is really, really annoying and really easy. So that's why I picked Diddy as my second character. If I was Olimar here, I would be kind of screwed. And things would take a lot longer. It's probably the only ladder that I actually go up intentionally without wall jumping or something. gonna do a bit of a damage boost. Through that. Instead of hitting the button to knock out the fire, you can just get hit first and then slide through with iframes. Then you get hit at the end. Sometimes the camera acts up really badly there. It basically doesn't work, it just stops following you. And that's bad, but it didn't happen there, so that was nice. Alright, so now we get to play as Falcon again right after this. Gonna start a fight. First thing I'm gonna do is run off to the left and just avoid the whole fight. So these birds are gonna spawn, and when they go off screen, they're considered KO'd. So if we don't trigger them to fall, like this one just did, they'll KO. And hopefully I won't die doing it. That is definitely a possibility. So now that those birds are done, we're gonna go back to the center and actually start fighting again. Because that's what you should do in this game. So basically, every enemy that we've seen thus far is going to be here. Some exceptions and some new ones. Really happy that they got stacked up like that. So you can do a quick kill on these tanks before they close by just hitting them. And that's the fight. That fight actually went really, really well. Alright, so setting up for one of the hardest skips in the game. This one actually might be the hardest. But I think I got it. Ah, I definitely missed it. Right? Yeah, if you start the auto-scroller while doing it, you miss the skip. That's unfortunate. So what I did there was I flew over the left side with Rob, and I went a little bit too far right while going through the wall, and started the auto-scroller. If I didn't, I would have respawned at the bottom of the auto-scroller, skipping it completely. It saves about a minute, so that's kind of unfortunate. So now we just need to sit through this whole thing here. I'm unsure if game overing would be any use with it, but I'm not going to try it here. It's already too late. So we just gotta sit through this whole section. Like I said, it takes about a minute, and then we're gonna move up. Runs of this game really don't start until you get that skip now, which is kind of annoying, because that is a hard skip. I'm probably about 60% on it, I would say. In theory, it's not difficult, but in practice, it just sometimes just doesn't work. Anyways, I'm now DK, which is good, because in the boss fight at the end of this, I'm going to want to be DK, and having him already loaded saves about 7 seconds, just for having the character up. So that's pretty nice. So as long as I don't get KO'd here, which probably not. Alright, and Meta Ridley. Like I said, picking GK. This is good. Meta Ridley's attacks are pretty okay. There's about 2 or 3 that are annoying. That was one of them. This one's really nice. And almost. That's an annoying one. That's the fight. So it's a pretty quick fight. You can do it with Falcon as well, but DK is just a bit better because up smash and up air is just really quick and easy. Alright, 3 more stages and then Great Maze. And they're all fairly quick except the third one. This one's about 2 minutes, next one's about 2 minutes, and the third one's about 3 minutes. So in this level we have the option to pick anyone we want, so we're going to pick Meta Knight. This is the only fight in the game that technically can be skipped, but you can't do anything out of it, as far as we're aware. You can fly past this fight, but you just get set back at the beginning after the L's row on any version. Also, these generators are completely broken. They spawn things after they're already destroyed. As so. That one usually doesn't. I'm surprised it did there. Alright, so going into this skip, I'm going to be skipping 3 fights in a row. Just like that. And that's the level. So for Subspace 1, we're going to pick Ness because Ness is the least worst out of these 3. He has a good vertical height, and that's really about it. He's not that good, but better than DDD and better than Luigi, so. So in Subspace, we have the option to pick up character trophies for characters that we would want to use in the Great Maze. I don't really want to use that many characters, so only going to pick up a couple. First one being Pokemon Trainer, which is going to be in this next room, little offshoot of the room. Like so. Next one I'm going to pick up is DK here. That's going to be used just for menuing. We're not actually going to be using DK, but it'll help get an input out better. Same with Mark, same movement. Basically what those 2 characters do are let us get Meta Knight with 1 input instead of multiple. Because we're going to be picking them a couple times. And it costs no time to pick those 2 up, so it's not really a big deal. Alternatively, you can pick Mario up instead of one of those 2, but it doesn't really matter. So here we're going to be DDD, and just like the very first fight in the game, we're going to inhale Bowser and fall off the stage. Hopefully. Maybe. Come on. Usually it is not this bad. As in, usually Bowser never actually attacks. There we go. So far too long. But anyways, one more level. Until Great Maze. Gonna unlock 4 characters here. We do eventually recruit Bowser to our side. Was the bad guy the whole level, or the whole game. So, Subspace 2, we can only use Kirby. Because, of course, it's a Sakurai game, Kirby's gotta be the hero. Which is fine, because Kirby's actually pretty good. So I picked up Meta Knight there, because obviously I have to. And the final auto-scroller of the game is this one. And it is kind of long, but there's no more after this, so it's okay. And here's the fight after that auto-scroller. This one is kind of similar to the end of Canyon, in that there's always like one more enemy that's gonna spawn, which kind of sucks. So I'm gonna take out these automatisms first, just because they're the most annoying. So there's probably gonna be one more after this one. No? Alright, that was the one more. Kinda just depends on what the enemies are gonna do and how fast you can KO them. Because if one just stays on a platform the whole time, I'm not really gonna get to it. A little bit more in this. That fight ends. And then we'll jump up to the next fight. I'm gonna jump into this enemy to regain my jumps. Three more chickens here. And that's 11. Alright, so that's the end of Subspace. So now we have the Great Maze. Like I said, Meta Knight is one input away. And in Great Maze, we're gonna fight everyone. All the enemies that we've encountered so far, and all the bosses. So if I could jump, this would be nice. So first is Petey. This time the cage doesn't really matter, but I'm still with the left wing ways just because. And now comes time for all the enemies. So first is Great Pit. The main strategy I'm going to be trying to do is dash attack into Shuttle Loop, which will pretty much KO anyone right away. Sometimes they survive. Which ones? One more Shuttle Loop and for sure do it. It really depends on how heavy they are. But in some cases, heavy characters die faster than light characters, which is kind of weird. I don't really have an explanation for that. So for example, DD will die a lot easier than Kirby, even though their weight differences is drastic. Speaking of Kirby, that's this fight. Hopefully he's gonna jump at me. Like that. Looks like I'm down smash Shuttle Loop. Did go the wrong way there. Follow that up. For the most part, the AI is gonna react the same or similarly to what it usually does. And at this point, I know what they're gonna do. So Link, I should be able to just dash attack immediately. He's gonna jump. I actually went a little bit too fast there. Thankfully, Shuttle pretty much combos out of anything, including itself, so I can just do that and finish off Link. Most moves of Meta Knight's kit combo into shuttle loopers are really nice. I haven't really talked about buffering, but between doors and like new level transitions, you can buffer a single input. Most of the time it's going to be a dash. Sometimes it's different. So back in the beginning when I was transforming into Sheik, I was holding down B through the whole transition to get the transform first frame that I could. So Yoshi should hopefully double jump at me. If not, that's bad. Just like that. Did go the wrong way, which is unfortunate. That's okay. Usually what happens is Yoshi double jumps at me, I shuttle loop, and then just wait for Yoshi to fall, because he doesn't have a jump. That happened a bit differently, but it still went well. Tried to hit that spring. Just going flat to the end here. The Diddy fight sometimes goes really poorly. We'll see how it goes here. That's what I meant to do, and that's what worked. Cool. You kind of need to push Diddy a bit to the left in that, or else he won't get KO'd to the shuttle loop. Gonna enter the store and leave so I can warp back later. So next we're gonna do the Falcon fight. Falcon's kind of annoying sometimes, you need to do a bit more damage on him than normal. So I'm gonna try and do a neutral air. Guess not. That worked. Okay. I meant to hit him with the shell, but instead he jumped off of it, which still ended up working out in my favor. So I was going to try another infinite dimensional gate, but no need anymore. Excellent, fell through the platform instead of just doing the move. Olimar I'm going to try and knock off stage as well. Gonna die. It's okay. It's not great, but do have backups with Charizard. There we go. So it's okay that I died with Meta Knight because I'm just gonna reset right here. Like so. To warp back to where I was before. This actually saves a little bit of time in-game. About 8 seconds per reset, and there's 2 resets. So I'm gonna pick Charizard, and then Meta Knight. Charizard's gonna be used for the boss that's coming up in the next fight, and then I'm gonna immediately SD, and then pick Meta Knight afterwards. Just because I'm probably going to take a lot of damage here, and Charizard's just faster on bosses. Probably that shield is right there. Definitely should have. But that's too long. I'm going to switch to Squirtle, just to do the SD a little bit faster. I can't SD here, because when you kill a boss, the boundaries of the stage get removed. So I need to wait until I respawn, get back here, and then just go. This is definitely worth it over having to do the boss with Meta Knight and risking a death later on. First we're going to go over the snake. It was very similar to Falcon in the fight. Except actually a lot easier to kill because his recovery is very, very vulnerable. And the AI is not going to do anything out of it like you normally can. Fall down here. This next fight is Game & Watch. Like I mentioned earlier, light characters seem to have a harder time dying. This is very true with Game & Watch. Theoretically, the third lightest in the game, after Kirby and Jigglypuff, but is one of the hardest to KO in Maze, which is pretty interesting. Also has really good AI. For some reason. So most of the time I'm just going to try and stay on stage and just try and challenge the recoveries just because it's safe for me and it's just a good idea. Because it's really easy to do for most characters. So moving out of here, we're going to go towards Meta Knight. Meta Knight also has really good AI. There's about 2 or 3 enemies in all of Maze that just have like proper AI and they don't just do dumb things. Meta Knight is the first one of them. Usually you can recover pretty well. Or sometimes just jumps to the platform like that, but usually tries to use Shuttle Loop at least. But yeah, the next difficult AI is going to be Zelda in a little bit. Next is Ness, is also probably going to double jump at me, kind of like Yoshi. And then I can just stop him from recovering, and that's the whole fight. Alternatively, I could have just waited for him to miss the recovery, because Ness pretty much always does. But that's just Alright, so going to the next boss here, it's going to be Porky. Porky's really annoying. Exactly the same as it was in Ruin Zoo. But because we're Meta Knight, we're going to do a little bit more damage than Lucas did, ideally. Again, depending on what moves he's going to use, but should go pretty well overall. Gonna glide over this section, or at least try to. Lost a lot of speed there. Okay. I'm probably gonna have to heal after this fight if I take like any damage. That would seem probably going to. Yeah, especially that move. Alright. Didn't die, which is extremely good, but it took 40% of damage every time. So I'll heal just to be safe. Costs about 15 seconds per heal. And it consists of going into the warp door, hopping on the platform, then jumping right off. You also have the option to change characters, which I don't need to do. I would do that if I had died as Meta Knight, but obviously didn't, so we're good. So gliding into the wind like that, you can gain a lot of speed really fast because you can go straight down, but not actually go down physically. You get pushed back by the wind enough that it doesn't really make a difference. Tried to do a ladder combo there, didn't really work. But that's okay. Alright, we're gonna be back here later after finish off every other enemy. Samus is also very easy. She's really light. And also spawns in a really good spot and usually doesn't do too much. Sometimes jumps, but that's about it. So I'm gonna go to Pikachu here. Similar to Kirby, I'm gonna wait for him to jump at me and then down smash. Sometimes that works. I keep hitting shuttle loop off the wrong side though. But most of the time it still works out really well. So now I'm gonna grab the key that's above me. And glide back. It is possible to glide with Meta Knight without using shuttle loop, just to hold the jump down. It's not used because shuttle loop gives you more momentum, but if I was to use it there, I'd get burned, and it's just not good. Alright, so going towards Rob here. Rob is the easiest fight in this. Button first. So ideally, I'm just going to run up and shuttle loop. Just like that, and like that. Very easy fight. So I'm just gonna go to the left here, hit the blue button, and then fight Ridley. And hopefully not take a lot of damage. With Meta Knight's Tornado, you can mash B to get some more distance out of it. Sometimes it's just not necessary, as B gets enough. So Ridley's always going to start with that move. And Maze only hasn't done it like 2 or 3 times. After that, it's random. I took a lot of damage there. I think I'll be okay. It's 4 fights until I can heal for free. So I'm going to risk it. That might come back to hurt me, but we'll see. So next fight's gonna be Bowser, then DDD, and then Falco. So it's only three fights actually. Because you can heal, there's a couple containers afterwards. So assuming I don't take too much damage here, or in the next fights will be okay. Bowser is usually not bad. I'm gonna walk off neutral air. Sometimes he attacks like that, but also a very light character in Maze, despite being Bowser, who's probably the heaviest in this game. I believe Bowser's heaviest in this game, I'm not sure. If not, it's like DK or Ganon or something. But regardless, one of the top heavies. But it just dies like that. DD's gonna be very similar. So same minecart section as we had in Battle for the Fortress. With Meta Knight this time. So DDD likes to KO me, so I'm gonna try and make that not happen. Alright, there we go. Again, very light. I've died to DDD many times after risking my Falco is also kind of dangerous. Really just spontaneous with what he does. Fox and Falco are the 2 AIs that kind of just do whatever they feel like in the fight, which is not good. So I'm just gonna try and win the fight here. Should be okay there. Yeah. Okay, so now I can heal for free. Maybe not free, but maybe at the loss of like 4 seconds, which is way better than 15. So more cannons just like this one. And we play Fox. Again, Fox is very spontaneous. Likes to start out with smash attacks for some reason. But that's the whole fight. Sometimes they just don't recover. They just fall, which is nice, because it saves a bit of time, but most of the time they actually try and make it back to stage. Ike, who will be fighting later, likes to do that. Just not recover at all. So I'm gonna glide all the way over here. Jump over the minecart. Never mind. Try and jump over the minecart, and then go on a meta ridley. So meta ridley has an attack that can do about 80%. Hoping he doesn't do it. Alright, should be good. Yeah, it'll be fine. Alright. That's nice. The last many runs I've done of this series did that move. That just basically kills you. Or it doesn't do a knockback, but it does a ton of damage. Which is just as bad. So we've already been here, but now we're going to go to the left to fight Mario. Mario's stage is very weird. He spawns at like a weird spot, so this fight is pretty difficult to do effectively. Mario also always capes while recovering, which I kind of forgot about. It's always the jump cape and then eventually up B. Now that we're done with Mario, we enter the most difficult section of Maze. Which is honestly not that difficult, but still. It's mostly the third room in here. First two are fairly easy. But the last one's just very easy to get around. Or just take a bunch of damage too. So I'm gonna just tornado through here and try and do this whole section really quickly. Take one hit, that's fine. Okay, so on to Gallium. Identical to Wild's one. Has a couple extra moves now, I think. Ones that we're going to do in Brawl, which we didn't get a chance to see because that fight was so fast. So that's the next boss step. A couple more fights, then we're going to reset again. So I'm going to risk this health. I do need to go through this door anyways. So actually I might as well heal, because I need to be here anyways. I'm going to warp back here in a bit. 3 fights from now, to be exact. So going to go to the left here. Going to go to Charizard, Pokemon Trainer. Gonna hold the edge so we can't grab it. It's probably the fastest way, because I feel like I would have missed the shuttle loop there. Alright, so there's a cycle that I can catch here. It's very difficult. Alright, there it is. That's actually pretty hard. Gotta not get hit by anything. This tornado. pretty hard to that's no slow cycle solution. Alright, on to Zelda. I mentioned earlier Zelda has really good AI. She was just good at recovering, which means she's really good. So we'll try and not let her recover. That was really risky, because if I missed I would have died, but it's worth it. So on to the last fight in this little segment. Peach is used to be really easy, but is kind of not anymore for some reason. That was really good fight. Again, gonna reset exact same as before. Warp back to the 3rd warp zone. Well, technically 4th, but 3rd when we entered. This is just to get back to where we need to be faster. Same character lineup. So we can go left or right, I'm gonna go left, because we'll cycle back here again later. On to Wario. Wario is also a very strange platform layout. Kind of similar to DK, except just more condensed. Then we're gonna get over to this Path of the Ruins-esque area. Luigi. Now Luigi doesn't have any platforms, which could be an issue. Now he doesn't have a jump, it should be... Alright, he definitely got a jump back after I hit him with Shuttle Loop. I don't know how that happened. Whatever. Luigi has a really bad recovery is what I was gonna say. So this climb is pretty much undoable with anyone except Meta Knight of the 4 characters that I have right now. So if I hadn't died as Meta Knight, that would have been not too big of a fight. Alright, onto Rayquaza. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. It's a good description of most of Maze. Yeah, I mean, Luigi jumped, did a double jump, I hit him, and then he had another double jump. That makes no sense. Anyways, we're going back to this warp for the 3rd time. Going to go up 2, and go right this time. To Lucas, very similar to Ness, just gonna hit him out of recovery pretty much. He's not gonna double jump at me. Lucas is a bit better at recovery than Ness is, so you kinda actually need to hit him there. Pretty much identical to Glacial Peak. And right at the top of Glacial Peak is Lucario. So Lucario's gonna jump at me. And shuttle him like that, and ideally end the fight. But as always, not always. Gonna go back into that door to fall down to Ice Climbers. and start the last leg of Great Maze. About 6 more fights until the end here. So ice climbers are interesting in that you only need to kill one of them, which is of course the one I didn't kill. But when there's only one climber, the recovery is severely nerfed like that, so they can't really do anything. If the AI was smart, they would side B, but the AI is not smart, so you can get away with doing that. I'm gonna go towards Ike now. Ike is usually not this bad. Usually just a dash attack shuttle loop works, but sometimes sometimes the AI goes a little awry. I can kind of just expect what's going to happen, but what actually happens is often different. So I enter the store and I leave just to reset the falling ceiling that's on the right of me right now. That primate pretty much always trips at you. Alright, so the third instance of introduction gate, hopefully. Like so. Now Marth might have good AI. If he runs to the left, that's good. If not, that happens. Ideally, I would want him to run to the left and then jump, so I can just dash attack shuttle loop. That's the best possible AI to get, but that was still pretty okay. Not forget the key. And go to the last regular fight in Maze, which is Ganon. Who, like everyone, is very easy to kill. And one more fight, and that's the game. So this is Taboo. Very annoying, difficult boss to do quickly. Basically just hoping he stays in one place and isn't too high up. But he likes to teleport a lot. And also pretty much kill you with any attack he has, which is nice. So this is probably going to be off waves after this. Next move is going to be off waves. It's usually around the 4th or 5th move. And that's done. That did way more damage than I actually expected. So that's Brawl. It's a 206, which is not too bad. My PB is a 159.50 something, so I said at the beginning this is not going to be world record because my loads were kind of bad, so yeah. For some reason my Wii is just bad at displaying loads, or putting loads out in like a good manner, so that's probably about average. I would say average for me is about like a 203 right now, so that's pretty good still. That's it for me, pretty much. Up next we have Mike Soul with Bleach. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.